Your breath fogs in front of your face before you even open your eyes. The cave is cold, but not as cold as outside. Outside, the wind has teeth. Somewhere beyond the entrance, a world locked in ice stretches in every direction, and you are about to walk into it. You are not modern. Your brow is heavy, your nose is broad, your body is built low and dense, like something designed by the cold itself. For roughly 350,000 years, beings like you lived across Ice Age Europe and parts of Western Asia. Scientists call you Homo neanderthalensis. Everyone else just calls you Neanderthal. What was a single day actually like? Start with the body you're wearing. It is not the lean, narrow frame you might picture from old textbook drawings. Neanderthal skeletons, recovered from sites across Europe, show a stocky, muscular build with a wide ribcage and shortened limbs, a shape that traps heat and burns fewer calories, keeping you alive in freezing temperatures. Your brain, in fact, was on average slightly larger than a modern human's. This was not a lesser version of a person. This was a highly specialized one, refined by tens of thousands of years to survive conditions that would kill an unprepared modern human in hours. You wake before dawn, because dawn is when the hunting begins. There is no alarm, only the itch of hunger and the sound of others stirring nearby. You are not alone in this cave. Somewhere between 10 and 20 people live here with you, a mix of ages, related by blood or long partnership. Small bands like this appear again and again in the archaeological record, and this matters, because survival out here is not an individual sport. A lone hunter freezes. A lone hunter starves. A group hunts, shares, and lives. Today, the group is going after something big. Excavations at sites like La Côte de Saint-Brelade on the island of Jersey have uncovered the bones of mammoths and woolly rhinoceros in numbers that suggest something startling: coordinated group hunts, possibly driving massive animals toward cliff edges. Imagine that for a moment. No guns. No long-range weapons in the way you'd picture them. Just sharpened wooden spears, thickened at the tip and hardened in fire, thrown or thrust at close range into an animal that outweighs you by tens of thousands of pounds. This is not a metaphorical risk. Analysis of Neanderthal skeletons by researchers including Thomas Berger and Eric Trinkaus found injury patterns strikingly similar to those seen in modern rodeo athletes, people who repeatedly work in close, violent contact with large animals. Broken ribs. Fractured skulls. Old injuries healed crooked, because there was no time to rest and heal properly. Every hunt was a wager against your own bones. You take your spear. You take your place in the line. And you wait for the signal. The hunt itself lasts only minutes, but those minutes decide everything. If it goes well, the group eats for weeks. If it goes badly, someone limps home, or doesn't come home at all. Today it goes well. The animal falls. The group descends on it immediately, and this is where the real skill shows itself. Every part gets used. Meat for food, obviously, but also fat, rendered and eaten for the calories your body desperately needs in the cold. Hide, scraped and worked into something you can wear or sleep on. Bone, split for marrow and shaped into tools. Sinew, pulled into cord. Nothing is wasted, because nothing can afford to be. Out here, waste is death delayed by a season, maybe two. You carry meat back to the cave, and here the world shrinks to something almost tender. Fire waits at the center of the shelter, and around it, faces you recognize. This is the part modern imagination often gets wrong, picturing Neanderthals as grunting brutes hunched over raw meat. The archaeological picture tells a different story. Evidence of controlled fire use goes back deep into the Neanderthal record, along with evidence of cooking, of hearths built and maintained over long periods, of plant foods gathered and processed alongside meat. At sites in Iraq and Spain, researchers have found traces of cooked starches on Neanderthal teeth, meaning the diet was not pure carnivory. It included roasted roots, grains, even medicinal plants. At Shanidar Cave in Iraq, one set of remains, an older individual with a severely damaged arm, healed fractures, and signs of deafness, suggests something else entirely. This person could not have hunted or fully fended for themselves for years, yet they lived on. Someone fed them. Someone protected them. Care, not just calculation, kept this person alive. That single detail rewrites a lot of what people assume about your world. You are not simply surviving. You are living inside relationships. You groom each other's hair for lice and warmth. You teach children how to work stone into blades, striking at precise angles passed down through countless repetitions, a skill called napping, watched and copied for years before a child does it well. You bury your dead, sometimes with apparent care, a body placed deliberately rather than discarded, and archaeologists debate exactly what that meant to you, but the deliberateness itself is hard to ignore. Night falls fast this deep into the Ice Age, and it falls cold. You sit near the fire as it throws long shadows against the cave wall. Someone works a hide with a stone scraper, the rhythmic scrape becoming almost like a song. A child sleeps curled against an adult's side. Outside, the wind keeps moving, indifferent, endless, but in here, for now, there is warmth, and food, and the low murmur of voices doing whatever version of storytelling your world allows. You do not know it, but you are living near the final chapters of your species' long story. Around 40,000 years ago, in this same landscape, a new kind of human arrives, moving in from the east. They are taller, lighter built, and they arrive in larger groups, with new kinds of tools, wider social networks, and, crucially, more efficient ways of extracting food from the same land. For a while, your two kinds of people coexist. Genetic evidence recovered from ancient bones, first sequenced in the landmark work led by Svante Pääbo, shows something remarkable: interbreeding happened. Most people alive today carrying non-African ancestry carry a small percentage of Neanderthal DNA in their genome, a quiet inheritance passed down across 40,000 years, still shaping things like immune response and skin in people alive right now. But interbreeding did not mean your people survived as your people. Slowly, over thousands of years, in ways researchers still debate, whether through climate shifts, competition for resources, small population sizes that made you fragile, or some combination of all of it, your line thinned, and eventually, it ended. The last confirmed Neanderthal populations vanish from the record around 40,000 years ago. So why does any of this matter to you now, sitting somewhere warm, reading this on a device that would have seemed like sorcery to the person by that Ice Age fire? Because that fire never really went out. It just changed shape. The instinct that made you protect an injured group member instead of leaving them behind, that still lives in you. The impulse to sit close to people you trust when the world outside feels hostile, that's the same impulse. The quiet ache you feel to belong to a small group who would notice if you disappeared, who would carry you home if you couldn't walk. That ache is old. It is older than your species, in fact, because it lived first in the beings who came before you and beside you, and it survived every winter they survived, passed down not just in stories, but sometimes literally in your DNA. You plant a seed. You wait. You harvest. You call this progress. But once, long before any of that, someone very much like you sat by a fire in the deepest cold this planet had to offer, surrounded by people who would not let them freeze, would not let them starve, would not let them disappear alone into the dark. And in a very real sense, you are still sitting there too, carrying a fragment of that fire forward, whether you know it or not.